NHL Historic Simulation number 8. In this episode, I will have a major makeover of the rosters and then simulate 3 seasons using the rosters. For the Scramble Draft, every team has to give up a key forward and defenseman and make them eligible for the draft. The draft order is determined by a random number generator. Historic Scramble Draft 8. New York Islanders draft Dave Andreychuk and Tim Horton. New York Rangers draft Frank Mahavlik and Erik Karlsson. Vancouver Canucks draft Daryl Sittler and Zdeno Chara. New Jersey Devils draft Bobby Orr and Mark Recchi. Calgary Flames draft Mike Bossy and Red Kelly. St. Louis Blues draft Anze Kopitar and Chris Letang. Edmonton Oilers draft Charlie Conacher and Dustin Byfuglien. Buffalo Sabres draft Keith Tkachuk and Cale Makar. Colorado Avalanche draft Bill Cook and Harry Howell. Dallas Stars draft Glenn Anderson and Leo Bovin. Hartford Whalers draft Andy Bathgate and Tempo Numminen. Montreal Canadiens draft Brian Propp and Quinn Hughes. Winnipeg Jets draft Doug Bentley and Thomas Caberlet. Washington Capitals draft Doug Gilmour and Miro Heiskanen. Philadelphia Flyers draft John Tavares and Brent Seabrook. Boston Bruins draft Vincent Lecavalier and Keith Yandel. Toronto Maple Leafs draft Ken Hodge and Wade Redden. Pittsburgh Penguins draft Evgeny Kuznetsov and Babe Pratt. Detroit Red Wings draft Joe Mullen and Paul Reinhart. LA Kings draft Patrick Marleau and Doug Moyne. And the Chicago Blackhawks draft Max Pacioretty and Kevin Hatcher. After the draft, a few trades are made. Boston Bruins trade Dickie Moore, Ziggy Palffy, and Nicholas Kronwall to the Philadelphia Flyers for Henrik Zetterberg, Tony Amonte, and Andrei Markov. Chicago Blackhawks trade Alex Tanguay, Shane Doan, and Rick McLeish to the Vancouver Canucks for Miroslav Shatan, Adam Graves, and Sid Abel. LA Kings trade Oliver Ekman-Larsson, Phil Kessel, and Frank Rimsek to the Buffalo Sabres for Johnny Bauer, Mikko Rantanen, and Reed Larson. Pittsburgh Penguins trade Sebastian Aho, Steve Thomas, and Ed Jovanovski to the St. Louis Blues for Milan Hejduk, Dustin Brown, and Ken Danico. Washington Capitals trade Dale Hawerchuk, Roman Josi, and Matt Duchene to the New Jersey Devils for Scott Niedermayer, Bernie Fedorko, and Patrick Laine. The changes made in the offseason will have a major effect on the upcoming simulation. In first place in the Clarence Campbell Conference are the Colorado Avalanche, followed by the Winnipeg Jets, St. Louis Blues, Calgary Flames, LA Kings, Vancouver Canucks, Dallas Stars, and Chicago Blackhawks. Missing the playoffs in the Clarence Campbell Conference are the Edmonton Oilers and Detroit Red Wings. In first place in the Prince of Wales Conference are the Buffalo Sabres, followed by the Hartford Whalers, New York Islanders, Philadelphia Flyers, Toronto Maple Leafs, New Jersey Devils, Washington Capitals, and Pittsburgh Penguins. Missing the playoffs in the Prince of Wales Conference are the New York Rangers, Boston Bruins, and Montreal Canadiens. The Calgary Flames beat the Buffalo Sabres in 6 games to win the Stanley Cup. After the season, a few trades are made. Boston Bruins trade Jonathan Quick, Vic Hadfield, and Joe Primo to the Toronto Maple Leafs for Mike Richter, Jason Arnott, and Clark Gillies. Detroit Red Wings trade Brayden Point, Ryan Suter, and Johnny Gaudreau to the New Jersey Devils for Doug Wilson, Gary Roberts, and Saku Koivu. Edmonton Oilers trade Vinny Prospel, Rick Vaive, and Steve Smith to the Buffalo Sabres for Vladimir Tarasenko, Busher Jackson, and Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Montreal Canadiens trade Lanny McDonald, Thomas Vanek, and Jyrki Lume to the Dallas Stars for Ivan Cournoyer, Slava Kozlov, and Dion Phaneuf. New York Rangers trade Jeremy Roenick, Steve Larmer, and Randy Carlyle to the Washington Capitals for Doug Gilmour, John McClain, and Brian McCabe. The changes in the offseason will have a major effect on the next season. In first place in the Clarence Campbell Conference are the Colorado Avalanche, followed by the Calgary Flames, Winnipeg Jets, St. Louis Blues, Vancouver Canucks, LA Kings, Dallas Stars, and Chicago Blackhawks. Missing the playoffs in the Clarence Campbell Conference are the Edmonton Oilers and Detroit Red Wings. In first place in the Prince of Wales Conference are the Buffalo Sabres, followed by the Hartford Whalers, New York Islanders, Philadelphia Flyers, Toronto Maple Leafs, Washington Capitals, New Jersey Devils, and Pittsburgh Penguins. Missing the playoffs in the Prince of Wales Conference are the New York Rangers, Boston Bruins, and Montreal Canadiens. The Buffalo Sabres beat the Calgary Flames in 6 games to win the Stanley Cup. After the season, a few trades are made. Boston Bruins trade Vincent Lecavalier, Peter Bondra, and John Klingberg to the Washington Capitals for Markus Naslund, Rick Tocchet, and Ian Turnbull. Detroit Red Wings trade Joe Nieuwendyk, Mark Scheifele, and Blake Wheeler to the Dallas Stars for Howie Morenz, Elmer Lyke, and Danny Heatley. Edmonton Oilers trade Yari Curry, Eric Lindros, and Busher Jackson to the New Jersey Devils for Jarome Iginla, Ryan Getzlaf, and Camille Henry. Montreal Canadiens trade Jacques Plante, Sandis Ozilish, and Bill Mazienko to the Chicago Blackhawks for Rob Blake, Grant Fuhr, and Adam Graves. New York Rangers trade Bernie Geoffrion, Rod Brindamore, and Eric Stahl to the LA Kings for were Daniel Sedin, Henrik Sedin, and Cam Neely. The changes in the offseason will have a major effect on the next season. In first place in the Clarence Campbell Conference are the Colorado Avalanche, followed by the Calgary Flames, St. Louis Blues, Vancouver Canucks, Detroit Red Wings, Chicago Blackhawks, and Winnipeg Jets. Missing the playoffs in the Clarence Campbell Conference are the Edmonton Oilers and Dallas Stars. In first place in the Prince of Wales Conference are the New York Islanders, followed by the Buffalo Sabres, New Jersey Devils, Philadelphia Flyers, Hartford Whalers, Toronto Maple Leafs, New York Rangers, and Pittsburgh Penguins. Missing the playoffs in the Prince of Wales Conference are the Montreal Canadiens, Boston Bruins, and Washington Capitals. The New Jersey Devils beat the St. Louis Blues in 6 games to win the Stanley Cup. In the next simulation of this mini-series, I simulate another 3 seasons using these rosters.